very well may have signed my first client. This is me showing you what it actually takes. That's not a diss to anyone, but some people are starting out way behind the 8 ball. But when I go to apply it in the UK market, it doesn't work. Okay, so last month I spent £2,426 and 47p across the agency, food, lifestyle. I know that doesn't sound too great, but that's just the nature of business. When you start a business, you have an outgoing, you have things you need to pay for. It's as straightforward as that, right? So the majority of that cost is going towards video editing. So if you were to look at my Instagram, you would see that I have this short form content that is edited to a very high capability. I can't edit that good. I can't go on Premiere Pro and After Effects and cook up the magic and do sound design and do motion graphics to the extent to which my editors are. So that means I could be spending anywhere from $80 for a video edit up to $200 for a video edit. And that's just how it's been going so far. I'm buying back my time because I understand. I know I have an abundance of time right now since I don't have clients with my agency yet, but I want to get into the habit of outsourcing tasks that, yes, I could figure out and go through that learning curve and do, but I'd rather just outsource it and have it done to the best of its ability straight off the rip, whether that's getting a website designed, whether that's having videos edited, whether that's doing videography for my clients. I'd rather just start out doing it properly. I feel like that's just a good habit to build. Also, something I've been spending a lot of money on is I have a video that I posted just the other day saying I read 100 books. So that's not free, right? So to buy 100 books, the audio version and the Kindle version, that cost a lot of money. And so every week I'm probably right now, for example, I've read 6 books so far this year, and I plan to just read as many books as possible. I'm at this little bit of a crossroad where it is like, the question is, do I read a ton of books, like 6-hour-long audiobooks? Do I just read like 300 books this year? Or do I just read 60 to 70 rarely extensive books, like the big 700-page, 600-page books? Which one do I do? I'm not sure what angle I want to take yet, but yeah, reading is a cost that also adds up a lot to my outgoing. For example, yesterday I read a book called We All Can Do It by Sarah Davis, who, if you're based in the UK, you will know that she is one of the dragons in Dragon's Den. I know there's a US equivalent to Dragon's Den, but I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, it's a memoir of her life so far, starting out building her business. From the video where I say I read 100 books, you will know that I'm obsessed with autobiographies and memoirs and different stuff like that. You know, whilst I've got this idle time when I'm not dealing with a lot of clients and building my team and doing stuff like that, I just said to myself, I'm going to dedicate as much time as possible to just reading as many biographies, as much information as possible. That might look like reading 2 books in a day, for example. So that's just something I'm doing right now also. And that's a contributor towards the cost. This year I read every single one of Gary Vee's books, right from Crush It, which he released back in like 2007, all the way up to Day Trade and Attention, so everything in between. And why that is relevant when it comes to building an agency, because if you didn't know, Gary Vee has a huge agency. He has offices in like London and New York with over like 500 employees. And his agency is worth over like 9 figures. So there's a lot to learn from somebody who has such a successful agency. And I've derived a lot of important lessons when it comes to content creation and like just predicting where things are going to head in the near future. I don't want to start pontificating on all the different benefits I've derived from reading his books, but I do want to highlight that they are really good books. My favorite one being the Ask Gary Vee book itself. But do beware that the audiobook and the Kindle are 2 different entities. So if you try and sync and read them at the same time, you're going to be stopping and starting every single second. When it comes to YouTube and talking to you behind the camera, I don't actually have any plans with YouTube this year. So for example, last year I said I was going to get to 100,000 subscribers and do all of that and like focus on YouTube and like really prioritize my content. But this year I've just decided to take a step back from YouTube. For example, here on the vision board, I've got a Sony FX3s, G Master lenses, a zoom and a prime lens. I've got a satchel, a tripod, Amaran lights, aperture, softbox, and like just different stuff I want to do to play around with the lighting because I'm obsessed with production. That's about as far as I'm going with YouTube this year. I don't really want to prioritize too much this. The reason why I'm actually being so transparent with the fact I've literally lost money this month is because I want to paint a realistic expectation of what it actually entails to start a online business in 2024, 2025. As you can tell, a lot of gurus, when they have these before and after stories and these triumphs from zero or minus all the way up to tens of millions, it's like the story in the dots in the story don't connect. That's not a diss to anyone, but this is me showing you what it actually takes. Even thus far, it's took a lot more than what I expected it to. I did come into this thinking it would be some sort of vacation, that would be super easy, and I can just print money like I'm the Bank of London or something like that. There has been a lot of lessons that I needed to learn, a lot of skill sets that I needed to develop. It's been pretty painful, but also pretty fun, right? And there is a lot of stuff when it comes to building an agency, but also like it's super simple. Like it really, I do believe it is the easiest business model to get to 10,000, 20, 30,000 a month. It just comes down to acquiring skills. And it also comes down to where you're starting out. What's your starting point? Some people are starting out way behind the 8 ball. Like even in one of Gary Vee's book, he talks about how he asks you to, and this is in the book 12 and a half, he asks you to, and it's in the section of gratitude, he asks you to number yourself from 1 to 7.7 billion, like how happy you are or something. From like 1 being the happiest person in the world to 7.7 billion being like the most miserable person in the world. He asks you to answer that, but then he also gives you like some facts, what allows you to put things into perspective. Like for example, how like approximately 3 billion people don't even have internet, and that how hundreds of millions of people don't have access to clean water, and like hundreds of millions of people by the end of the year, like they were underfed or something like that. So it just gives you this crazy perspective how like if you've got internet and you have food every day, for example, like you're above most people in terms of quality of life. So there's like a perspective shift where you're starting out on your journey. And I understand that I'm starting out like above a lot of people, but also like I'm also starting behind a lot of people. Like I don't live in a major city where I have access to lots of resources like London or something like that. I didn't have any skill sets starting out my agency journey. I didn't know jack crap about sales. I didn't know anything about marketing. Like I had a little bit of a background in marketing. I didn't know any of the corporate marketing theory or anything like that, or anything about design or different stuff. Like I had natural inclinations and I do have natural entrepreneurial tendencies, but all of these things need to be refined. I'm showing the whole process, and that's all I'm doing here with this YouTube channel. Yeah, this is not a vacation. This isn't some passive income scheme yet. It does take a lot of momentum to get things pushing off, but I can see that as soon as you do get that momentum, it will be a way to the races. It will that's how it does work. It's like a hockey stick kind of growth. So it is kind of slow, like how bamboo is, and then you grow exponentially. I do see how that can work. So it's just getting myself off the ground first. It's like when a plane, it takes a lot of power to get a plane off the ground, but as soon as it's in the sky, it's kind of like self-fulfilling, right? The thing about advertising in the UK and why it's probably proved to be quite a challenge so far for me, when it comes to UK culture, we don't really take on advertising as much. We don't see it as important. We don't place as much value on it. We see marketing and sales and salespeople as kind of like sleazy people. So when it comes to marketing, we've really got to do it in a classy manner, in a way that's like professional and tasteful. It's just finding that angle for me that's been the biggest learning curve, because I will learn something from an American video, a strategy, a technique, but when I go to apply it in the UK market, it doesn't work, whether that be from a copywriting standpoint or an ad creative standpoint or a content standpoint. So it's just that adaptation and like conversion process that I've been trying to balance, which is also perhaps a little bit of an excuse, but also justification for my current delays in success. I haven't really updated my agency much in this video, but I do have a VSL editor hired now. So that's underway, waiting for that to be done. I've had all of the content I've shot video wise for my agency and for my personal brand and content. I've had all of that. All of it's being currently edited. So everything's pretty cool. I'm feeling really good about everything, to be honest. And I am in the talks with a client right now, so I'm not going to say too much about that. I am basically this close, very well may have signed my first client. I need to check my emails first. and different stuff like that. So I'm going to be sharing every single thing along my journey of agency building. I even want to share like when I'm doing content days for my clients and stuff like that, and just share like the mindset shifts and everything, and be totally transparent with my journey. So this is a little bit of an update. This is what the setup is right now. New at RBG in the Amaran 25C instead of my usual GVM 80 watts. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, this lighting's a lot better because it's so intense. Like if I take off the softbox, what comes with it? Look how intense that is. So it stops a lot of spill that the GVM has because it's not a grid softbox. So it gives it that lot more cinematic feel, what I'm looking for. Like I said, my plan for this year is going to be scaling this agency from 0 all the way up to 100k and beyond. So if you want to watch me scale my agency in real time, subscribe. I was going to say follow me, thinking I'm on Instagram. So yeah, if you want to watch me scale my agency in real time, subscribe on YouTube, and I'm going to be documenting everything, service delivery, content days, mindset, all that different jazz. Let's also appreciate the lighting for this video. I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, I've got this, even this. We've got what are they called? Govee. Don't buy one of these, they're not very good. Got a little candle for some ambience and a fireplace.